Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Madhava Kunja Vihari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radha Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Subhadramai Jaya Sudarshana Jagannatha Swami Nayana Pathagame Jagannatha Swami Nayana Pathagame Nayana Pathagame Bhavatu Me Nayana Pathagame Bhavatu Me Jai Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Nittai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nittai Gaura Hari Bol श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की श्रील प्रभुपाद की ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयामुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिके कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांग्रहे। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनामिने गौरत्रिसे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Welcome you all this morning class. Today is the most auspicious appearance day of Sripad Ramanujacharya. So we'll discuss some pastimes from the life of Sripad Ramanujacharya. So first of all we'll chant the pranam mantra of Sripad Ramanujacharya. You can all repeat after me. Yo nityam achyuta padambuja yukma rukma व्यामोहता तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरो भगवतोस्य दयैक सिन्धो रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये। हरे कृष्ण। So it means that I bow to the great Sripad Ramanujacharya, who knows nothing else but devotion to Lord Vishnu and who is immersed in the worship of the Supreme Lord's lotus feet. Sripad Ramanujacharya ki. Hare Krishna. So, Sripad Ramanujacharya is a very great Acharya of the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. As we all know, there are 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas. What are they? What are they? Sri Sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya, Brahma Sampradaya, Kumar Sampradaya. Where are we? We are in which Sampradaya? And decrease the volume, there is a lot of echo. We come in which sampradaya? Brahma sampradaya, right? Our line starts from Lord Brahma. Then after Brahma there is Madhva and there are many acharyas. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya, Vaishnava Sampradaya. Gaudiya is the land where this Bengal, West Bengal, Bangladesh, Orissa, that area is called, not Orissa but the upper part of Orissa, that's called Gaudiya. So therefore, because this Vaishnavism is coming from that land, it is called Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So Sripad Ramanujacharya is Anantashesh. Rama Anuja, the meaning of Rama Anuja. Anuja means brother and Rama Anuja. That means Lord Rama's brother. So who is he? Lakshmana. Okay, and who is Lakshmana? He is the incarnation of Anantashesh. Just like Balaram. Balaram is Lakshman. Balaram expands into Anantashesh. All the paraphernalia of the Lord is Balaram. Just like this Mridanga, that is also Balaram. Kartal, that is Balaram. Because where the Lord is glorified, where the Lord is being served, that paraphernalia becomes Balaram. So where the Lord is sleeping, he is sleeping on Anantashesh. So that is expansion of Balaram. It comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita, how the Lord expands into all these forms. So, Sripad Ramanujacharya, his parents are Keshav Dikshit and Kantimati. So they used to live near Sri Perambuduru, it's in Tamil Nadu, near Chennai. So for many years they were not having child. So they would go to the temple of Adikeshava Perumal in Perambuduru and ask for the Lord, for the child. So Lord one day appeared in the dream and said, I'm going to, appear. So then after a few months, Sripad Ramanujacharya was born in the year 1017 AD. 1017. That means 1006 years before. Right? 1006 years before. This is the 1006th birthday. And we are very fortunate to stay in this city just nearby to Statue of Equality, which they erected Chennajir Swamiji on the occasion of 1000th year appearance of Sripad Ramanujacharya. Ramanuja Sahasrabdi. Sahasrabdi, right? So, just in few minutes, we cannot describe the glories of Ramanujacharya because he lived for 120 years. Certainly 120 years glories you cannot describe in 1 hour. So whatever few little pastimes that we could cover, let us discuss. So in the childhood, those times, before his appearance, it was all Mayavadis. Because Shankaracharya appeared in the around 600-700 AD. After that it was all Shankara schools. That means Mayavadi schools, every village, every town. So those times, in his village also there was only Shankara school. So the parents put him in the Gurukul, where he learned Sanskrit and grammar. And the Guru was Yadava Prakash, who was teaching Mayavada Bhashya. Because it was a Mayavada school. And once upon a time, this Yadava Prakash, he was giving a discourse on Upanishads, and in that discourse, one sentence, one statement of the Upanishad from Chandogya Upanishad, it is written, Tasya yatha kapyasam pundarikam eva akshini. So this Yadav Prakash was lying on having massage Ramanuja was doing the massage with oil. So this person, Yadav Prakash, he interpreted this statement from the Upanishad in a Mayavada way. You all know Mayavada, which Mayavada is a philosophy which offends the existence, which offends Lord Krishna. Mayavada, Krishna Aparadi. They are offenders to Lord Krishna because they deny the personal form of the Lord. They say there is Lord has no form, no hands, no legs, no eyes, no head. What is God? God means, light. They are atheist in the garb of theist. They have all, tilak and all these things and Mayavadis. What is their philosophy? No, there is no God. I mean, God means that's light, Brahman, spiritual, Brahmajyoti. So on the garb of theism, they are atheist. So actually Mayavadam is also called crypto-Buddhism. Crypto means covered. And Buddhism. What is Buddhism? They also don't accept the existence of God. So these people, Mayavadis also same thing, but in a more sophisticated way. Giving all Upanishads, quotations and saying, no, God is like this, no form. So this Yadav Prakash, he was saying that the eyes of the Lord, his interpretation, the Yadav Prakash interpretation was, the eyes of the Lord are like Pundarikam. What is Pundarikam? Pundarikam means lotus. The eyes of the Lord are like lotus petal. But the color in the eyes is exactly like the back of a monkey, reddish. It is written the eye is reddish. And how it is? Kapi. Kapi means monkey. So it's like the back of a monkey. So when Ramanuja heard this, he was very painful. So how you can compare the eye of the Lord to your back of some animal? This is completely nonsense. This is a great offense. And being his guru, he did not, spoke any angry way, but he was crying. He was crying, and when he was crying, that hot tears were falling on his body, Yadav Prakash. And he turned, hey, what happened? Why are you crying? He said, sir, your interpretation doesn't seem to be proper. Then Yadav Prakash became angry. Acha, you have a better interpretation? Tell me. Then Ramanuja, he replied, Kapyasam doesn't mean monkey's back. Kapyasam means Kapi plus Asam. And what is Kapi? Kam, Jalam and Pibati. That means he who drinks water. He who drinks water. That is, Kapi means the sun. Who drinks the water? Who drinks the water? The sun extracts water. That is how the clouds form. So Kapi means the sun, and the verbal root as, indicates blooming, blossoming. So the word asam therefore means blossomed. In this way, the entire word Kapyasam comes to mean blossomed by the sun. Kapi means sun. Asam means bloomed. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhav ki, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. So, what is blossomed by the sun? Which is blossomed by the sun? Lotus. Lotus. So, the actual translation goes like this. The eyes of that Supreme Person are as lovely as the lotuses blossomed by the rays of the sun. This is the actual translation which Ramanuja gave. Should I repeat? The eyes of that Supreme Person are as lovely as the lotuses blossomed by the rays of the sun. So then Yadav Prakash, when he heard this, he was flabbergasted. He was surprised. Now, how could my disciple speak like this? And in future, he will overpower me. He will overthrow me. He will become the Acharya. He will become the Mathadish. And I have to beg on the road. Then he thought, now I have to kill Ramanuja. Then he planned. So all the students, he took for a yatra to North India. Kashi somewhere he took the yatra. And he thought to kill Ramanujacharya in the between. So Ramanuja has one brother whose name was Govinda. So Govinda, he came to know about this plot, about this attempt. So in the area of Vindhyas mountains, which comes near Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, that side. So Govinda one night told Ramanuja that they are planning to kill you. Then better you leave this place now. So then that same night, the Ramanujacharya leaves that place and runs towards south into the forest. The next morning, the Yadav Prakash, they get up and say, Ramanujacharya is missing, Ramanuja is missing. So then they thought that, okay, some lion or tiger must have eaten him on the way. So they thought he must have died. So they were in a happy mood. Okay, he lost now. And they went. And after Ramanujacharya leaves from that place and keeps traveling, he meets two couples who live in the forest, that sect who lives in the forest. He says, okay, we are also going to south, to Kanchipuram. Let us go together. So they walk till some time and then they say that we are little thirsty, can you go and bring water from the pond? The pond is just nearby. So he goes to bring water from the pond and he brings the water back. By the time he brings and comes back, they are disappeared. And then Ramanujacharya was surprised. Hey, where these people had gone? They asked for water in this great jungle, where they have gone? And then suddenly he hears the sound of a bell. And then he turns, oh, this is Gautam, where I am, he thinks. And then he goes little, he walks and he finds few people sitting there. So what is this city? And they say, this is Kanchipuram. And he was surprised. And he thanks the Lord. Said, the Lordships, Lakshmi and Narayana themselves had come to bring Ramanuja from Vindhya mountains to the Kanchipuram. So then after a few months, Yadav Prakash comes back and he gets surprised. How Ramanuja is still here alive. So then after that, for the higher education, he always, every day he would see Kanchipurna, one great devotee of Lord Varadaraja, always walking daily from one village called Poonamalle to Kanchipuram, every day walking. And he would walk it from the in front of the house of Ramanuja. And while walking, he is so much immersed in devotion to the Lord Varadaraj. And he would not say anything left, right, just immersed in the devotion and walk, singing the glories of the Lord. And Ramanuja becomes so much attracted to him. And he invites him for prasadam and serves him. So like that he develops attachment to Kanchipurna. And there are so many glories about Kanchipurna also. How he would every day speak with Lord Varadaraj. People ask Kanchipurna, can you ask the Lord this question? And he would go and ask. And the Lord would reply. And he would come and reply to the devotee who asked the question. So that was the height of devotion to devotion of Kanchipurna. So anyways, Ramanuja slowly he starts learning Vaishnava Tattva also, and naturally from childhood he is a Vaishnava, but Vaishnava Sampradaya. But because being in that village there was no Vaishnava school those times, so he has to go to that Mayavada school. So there was one great Acharya called Yamunacharya. He was the main pontiff, main guru, Acharya of the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya based in Srirangam. And once upon a time he happened to visit Kanchipuram and he saw Ramanuja. And he saw the great effulgence in this Ramanuja. And he thought this Ramanuja, he will become the future Acharya of this Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. And he was always thinking when this boy will come and I would initiate him into the Sampradaya and he will take this legacy ahead. And it did not happen that Ramanuja met Yamunacharya. He was trying that Ramanuja will come and meet me like that, but somehow it could not happen. But when Yamunacharya was in the end of his life, giving up his life, at that time Ramanuja gets a call from the disciples of Yamunacharya that no, he wanted to meet you. So Ramanuja starts running, come to Sriranga. By the time he comes, Yamunacharya leaves the body. But while leaving the body, Yamunacharya, he puts 3 fingers like this, closed. 3 fingers he puts closed. So then no one understands why it was closed. Only Ramanuja could guess what is the meaning of that. So then Ramanuja, he says 3 things, and after saying each thing, Yamunacharya fingers gets opened. First thing that Ramanuja says was, I shall always dedicate myself to the Vaishnava's faith. I shall save those who are deluded by ignorance by bestowing upon them the 5 sacraments, which is Pancha Samskaras, which every devotee, when they get initiation, they get these 5 things from the spiritual master. The Urdhva Pundram, Tilakam, Kanthimala, Japmala, Mantra, the thread, the Brahmendra. So like that there are 5 things. The Shankha Chakra, the Sri Vaishnavas they get. So there are Pancha Samskaras which everyone gets while taking initiation. So teaching them the Dravida Vedas and converting them to the religion of Prapatti, surrender to Lord Narayana. So basically he is saying that I will spread Vaishnavism, I will preach far and wide, I will make thousands of devotees, I will convert them into Vaishnavism. Then one finger opens. Then second thing he says, I shall write a commentary on the Vedanta Sutras of Badarayana, taking the earlier commentaries also into consideration and revealing the saving knowledge to the people. Second thing he said is, I will write a commentary on the Vedanta Sutras. Like the natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra is Srimad Bhagavatam, which is written by Vyasadeva himself. But any Vaishnava Parampara, if they have to be authorized, they should have one commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam or commentary on the Vedanta Sutras. So till that time there was no commentary written in that Vaishnava Sampradaya. So Ramanujacharya said that I will write a commentary on Vedanta Sutras. There are 555 Vedanta Sutras, which describes the glories of the Lord. So in that way he said, then the second finger was opened. And third thing he said, in the honor and memory of great Parashara, the father of Vyasa, I will name one disciple as Parashara who will become the Acharya after me. This is the third thing he said. So then after this the third finger was opened. So then everyone understood that he will be going to be the Acharya, the successive Acharya after Yamunacharya. And even Yamunacharya, before leaving, he told everyone that after my passing away, Ramanuja will be the successor. So then, after that, Ramanuja takes initiation from a disciple of Yamunacharya, whose name was Mahapurna. Mahapurna would be coming from Srirangam to Kanchi to meet Ramanuja, and at the same time there is an intention, there is a even Ramanuja thinks I should meet the Mahapurna. So they both come together, and at one place called Madurantakam they meet, and at the same place Mahapurna initiates Ramanuja into the Vaishnava Parampara, giving him Panchasamskaras. So then Ramanuja was, at the age of 16 only, he was married to one woman called Rakshambal. And Mahapurna, being the Guru, Ramanuja invited Mahapurna to his house to stay for a few days. So at that time, even in those times, there was a differences in the, even in one caste, there is a differences in the higher, there is something like higher Brahmanas, there is something like secondary Brahmanas, third Brahmanas, like that. So this Rakshambal, she was having thought that, we are higher Brahmanas. And this Mahapurna, who is the Guru of Ramanuja, they are from lower Brahmana sect. So once they were taking water from the well, the wife of Ramanuja and the wife of Mahapurna, they were taking water from the well. And by some chance, the water from Mahapurna's wife fell into the Rakshambal's, that bucket. Then she became very angry, and she disrespected the wife of Mahapurna, saying all painful words. Then at the same time they thought it's not the right place to stay, and they left. After some time, when Ramanuja came back, he came to know from the wife that what all happened. By the silliness, by the offensive mentality of his wife, he lost the association of his Guru. And Ramanuja thought this is the best time to take sannyas. And he told one Brahman, he gave one letter to a Brahmana. That Brahmana comes to the house of Ramanuja saying, giving the letter to Rakshambal that there is a letter from your father that he needs your presence in the village. You have to immediately come for some festival. Then she becomes happy, packs the luggage and goes. And then Ramanuja, as soon as she goes, he goes to Varadaraja and he accepts saffron cloth and Tridandi sannyas and becomes sannyasi. From that day, he becomes Yatiraj. Yatiraj means the king of the Yatis, sannyasi. So after taking renunciation, the Ramanujacharya was preaching so vigorously. Just like Prabhupada, how vigorously he preached. Prabhupada touched every level of people. Prabhupada preached to hippies who are just living on the roads, living a very dirty life. At the same time, when the movement started, Prabhupada also preached to, so many VIPs, so many great celebrities, George Harrison, Ambarish Prabhu, Alfred Ford. So all classes of people, Prabhupada could touch all classes of people. Priest, church fathers, so many. IAS, IPS, police officers, government officers, scientists. There are scientist disciples of Prabhupada. So in the same way, Ramanuja also, he preached to all the classes of people. In that time only, Ramanujacharya made 700 sannyasis. How many? 700 sannyasi disciples. 1200 grahastha disciples. 1200 grahastha disciples. And in general, devotees to thousands and lakhs. Whole South India became Sri Vaishnava. Not only South India, he travelled all over India. He travelled North India, South India, West India, East India, everywhere he travelled and established no, Vaishnava Tattva. So, once the Mahapurna, he says, you go to Tirukostiur and take this powerful Ashtakshari mantra, Om Namo Narayanaya, from Goshtipurna. Then he goes, and Goshtipurna says that, I am busy, come tomorrow, come on some other time. Then again, after a few days, he goes, all the way he walks. There is no car or there is no bus, there is no train. So many kilometers he has to walk every time. And each time what he says, come again, come next time, I am busy. So like that, 17 times he was rejected. Just imagine, how many times? 17 times he was rejected for the Diksha. The 18th time he came and he was crying at the feet of Goshtipurna, please give me shelter, give me the mantra. The 18th time, the Guru saw the dedication, the devotion of Ramanujacharya, and he gave this Ashtakshari mantra. But he gave one condition. You should not give this mantra, tell this mantra to anyone. That is the condition. You should not tell to anyone. It is only to you. It is not to anyone else. And he also tells the glories of this mantra. Anyone who chants this mantra, he will go back to Godhead. He will go to Vaikuntha. Ramanuja becomes happy and he comes and he goes away from there. And in that village, there is one temple. And as you know, South India, the Gopurams are tall, the entrance. So he goes to the top of the Gopuram. Before that, he calls all the people, come, I have some great gift to share to all of you. And everyone assembles there and he goes to the top of the tower. And then he says, repeat after me. If you chant this, you will never take birth again in this material world. You will go back to Vaikuntha, you will have eternal life of bliss. And everyone becomes excited. Yes, tell, what is that? What is that mantra? Says, chant, Om Namo Narayanaya. Then this news goes to Goshtipurna. And he becomes so red-faced, so much angry. He comes to Ramanuja. Hey, I told not to tell anyone. Why did you tell? You committed an offense towards the feet of the Guru. You will go to hell. And Ramanuja said, my dear spiritual master, if hundreds and lakhs of people can go to Vaikuntha at the cost of one man going to hell, I'll happily go to hell. Then when his Guru heard this, he was so much, he was crying that how much merciful heart Ramanujacharya has, and he was falling at the feet of his disciple. So that is the greatness of Ramanujacharya. So there are 4 sampradayas, Brahma, Sri, Kumara and Rudra. And all the acharyas of the sampradayas, in some lila, they visit Mayapur of the holy place of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they take two principles from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives them. This is a very secret lila. It is not recorded everywhere, but it is recorded in our Gaudiya Vaishnava text. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs Ramanujacharya 2 things which he took with him. First thing is the concept of unalloyed devotion, pure devotional service. How to perform pure devotional service to Lord. So that is one principle, and which is free from jnana and karma. What is the definition of pure devotional service? Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam ankulyena krishnana shilanam bhaktiruttamam. So that which is free from jnana, karma and any other thing. Only pure devotional service. So that is one principle. And the second principle that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave Ramanuja was service to the devotees. Vaishnava Seva, Bhakta Jana Seva, service to the devotees. That's the second principle. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came for South India Yatra, he took all two principles back from the four sampradayas, and again he incorporated that in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, but originally it was given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So one interesting lila happened. Ramanujacharya, he was traveling all over India spreading Vaishnavism, and he went to Jagannath Puri. And in Jagannath Puri he saw these pandas, they are doing anything and everything. The whatever way they want, they are worshipping the Lord without considering any scriptures. Generally the worship is done according to Pancharatra Agamas, according to the deity worship scriptures, the worship is to be done. But here they are doing everything according to their own interest. So this is not good. This is not standard. Let me put the standard form of worship. Then he thinks like that. Then in that night, Lord Jagannath comes in the dream of Ramanujacharya and says, you have nothing to do with here. I am liking whatever way they are doing. Whatever way they are worshipping, I am liking that. You don't disturb this method of worship. Then in the same night, Lord Jagannath transfers Ramanujacharya from Jagannath Puri to Sri Kurmam. Sri Kurmam is a village in the Srikakulam district of Andhra. It is a place where Kurma, Lord Kurma, deity is there. So next day it happens in the dream. The next day when he gets up, he is in Sri Kurmam. He sees Gopuram and that village. He is in Sri Kurmam. Then he understands it's all Jagannath Leela. Then as soon as he sees the Sri Kurmam temple, he offers pranam to the Gopuram, to the sanctum. As soon as he offers the pranam, the Kurma deity turns backwards because he offered pranam from backside. Just like we are offering pranam from here. Imagine some devotee is offering pranam from behind. So Radha Madhav is turning behind. Like that, The Kurma deity turned back. So if you go to Sri Kurmam temple, there are two entrances. One was the old one and one is the new one which was made after Ramanujacharya's visit. So the Lord turned to see his devotee. This case happened even in Puri. The one great Vaishnava whose name was Kanakadas. He is from the lower caste, so people were not allowing him in the temple. So what he would do, he would go behind the temple and there is a small window behind the temple and he would see from that small hole, he would take the darshan of the Lord. And the Udupi Krishna, he turned 180 degrees to give darshan to this Kanakadas. Even now if you go to Udupi temple, you have to go to the main entrance like this, take like this and go behind and take darshan from behind. So this is how the Lord reciprocates with his pure devotees. Once upon a time, so in this way Ramanuja fulfilled his Guru's first wish, which was to preach Vaishnavism, make thousands of devotees, convert them into Vaishnavism. So he fulfilled that first one. And what was the second one? He will write a commentary on Vedanta Sutras, the Badarayana Sutras. So that now he thought, now I should fulfill the second one. So for this, he wanted to take reference from a book called Bodhayana. There's a book called Bodhayana's book. He wanted to take that as reference, in which a lot of Vaishnavism was established in that book. But that book is nowhere available. And he heard that the only place where it is available is in Kashmir, Sharada Peetham, in Kashmir. So then he and his servant, both of them started from Srirangam to Kashmir. Imagine, all the way by walk. It took them 3 months to reach Kashmir. And they reached Sharada Peetham, and there the Brahmanas, they nicely welcomed Ramanujacharya and his servant. So then Ramanuja asked, I want this Bodhayana teaching. Then they were a little scared. If I give this book to him, he will establish Vaishnava Tattva, which will be a detrimental to Advaita philosophy. I said, no, it is actually eaten by insects. It is not available now. Then he was very sad. I became so long, he thought it was here. And he was sitting in the room in painful situation. In the same night, Saraswati Devi appeared. And Saraswati Devi herself handed over this book to Ramanuja in Kashmir, Sharada Peetham. Said, you take this book and immediately leave from here. Then he and his servant, both of them started going from there. Then these people, they have the book, but they lied it. Then they found that this book is missing. The people, the Brahmanas there. So Ramanuja must have stolen. So they sent people running after Ramanuja to catch him. But, Ramanuja was caught in their hands. They don't kill him, but they take the book back. Then again, Ramanuja is in painful situation. Oh, how will I write the commentary on Vedanta Sutras without this as reference? Then his disciple, his servant says, my dear Guru, I have read everything. No, I remember everything. I have read all the book. I remember everything. I will write again for you. Just in few hours he read everything, and he again wrote that book. And based on that, because in that book already the Vaishnava Tattva was established. So taking that into reference and also giving his own commentaries, Ramanujarya gave commentary on Vedanta Sutras, which is called as Sri Bhashyam. It's called as Sri Bhashyam. Just like in our Sampradaya, Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, who wrote commentary on Vedanta Sutras? Baladev Vidyabhushan, and which is called as Govinda Bhashyam, because Lord Govinda was personally dictating this commentary. Ramanujacharya took, I think, around 9 years or so to write this commentary, or more than 9 years or so. And this Govinda Bhashyam, Lord was continuously dictating, and it was written in 9 days, the Govinda Bhashyam. So in this way, he was traveling all over India, preaching, making so many into devotees. Once upon a time, there was a king. The king of that land was Shaivite, Kulottunga Chola. He wanted to have only Shaivism, no other religion. Just like now Hindus, Muslim fight. In those times, Shaivites and Vaishnavas would fight. So they would say, no, Shiva is supreme. They would say, no, Krishna, Vishnu is supreme. So there is always a fight. So this Chola king, he thought to kill Ramanuja, because the king's servant told, sir, you need not convert everyone into Shaivism. You just convert the Acharya, the Mathadish, into Shaivism, everyone will get converted. Then he wanted to convert Ramanuja into Shaivism, and if not, kill him. So it so happened that his disciple Kuresha went for the discussion, not Ramanuja, and he defeated Shaivism there. So there they thought to punish Kuresh, remove his eyes. Kuresha said, no, why you will remove? I will only remove my eyes. And Kuresha removed his eyes. And they sent soldiers to kill Ramanuja. And Ramanuja left that place and went to another kingdom which was ruled by one Jain king in Karnataka, and he went to one place called Melkote, one mountain. So there he heard from the locals, there was a temple here, Yadavagiri Pati, the temple name was, and the Muslims destroyed the temple, and the deity is somewhere here, We don't know where it is, but it is somewhere here. Temple is destroyed. So that night in the dream, the Lord came in the dream of Ramanuja, said, I am lying at this place. There is a lot of tulsi here, you can see. So in the next morning when they dig ditch, they found the deity. The big deity, they found it. Then Ramanuja was looking for the small deity, to which the upacharas happen, the procession happen, Utsava Murti, so which was not found. Then the Lord told Ramanuja that this Utsava Murti is lying in Delhi. In the Muslim king, it is lying with him. So you go there and collect. So again Ramanuja went to Delhi and his disciple. So there they went to this Muslim king and they spoke very nicely. Ramanuja spoke very nicely to this Muslim king, telling about the Vaishnava philosophy, speaking very nicely. That Muslim king became very satisfied by the way Ramanuja was speaking and establishing the philosophy. He said, yes, that Murti is here only, you can take it. But when the soldiers went to bring the Murti, servants went, it was in the room of Nachiyar, who was the daughter of this king, a Muslim king. She developed so much attachment, love for this deity. She was loving so much this deity, she was so much attracted to this deity. She was not giving this deity back. Then the father somehow convinced her to give the deity back to Ramanuja, and he bought it back. But this girl, she was as if she lost her life without this deity. And she left the kingdom. She was also coming behind Ramanuja, and ultimately she also reached Melkote. And when she reached Melkote, in front of everyone she was crying, seeing the separation from the deity. And it is said she went inside the altar and merged into the deity of the Lord. And that's why her name became Bibi Nachiyar. She is also considered to be like wife of Lord Vishnu. In South India, in Telugu we call it as Bibi Nancharamma. She is the wife of Balaji. Balaji is also Vishnu. So she is the wife of Balaji, they say. Balaji, Vishnu, both are same. Bibi Nanchiyar, she is a Muslim. Even now, in that city, Melkote, they put that photo of her and worship her. Once, the Ramanujacharya, he wanted to go to Tirupati. Tirupati, the Lord Venkateshwara is there. Before Ramanujacharya, Tirupati Lord Venkateshwara, there is lot of misconception on him. Who is he actually? What is his identity? Some call him as Shiva because he has long hair and there are snakes in the hand. You see the photo of Balaji, there are snakes. Nagpash. So some were worshipping him as Shiva, calling Shiva. Some was telling, no, it is Durga, because long hair is there. Some were telling, no, it is Vishnu. We know it is Vishnu. Alvars glorified here. So there's so much debate, so much thing. So Ramanujacharya reached there and he called everyone there. Okay, let us put in the altar, let us put Shankha, Chakra, Trishul and Dhamaru. Let's close the altar and come in the morning and see. Whatever the deity is catching, that will be the identity of the deity. So next day they came, and when they opened the doors, they found the Lord is catching Shankha Chakra. So actually the identity of Lord Venkateshwara was given by Ramanujacharya. It is he who proved it is Venkateshwara, it is Srinivasa, he is Vishnu. Before that, the identity was not clear. There was one disciple of Ramanuja, his name was Dhanurdas. So this Dhanurdas, before he was a common man, and he comes to Sri Rangam and he finds one very beautiful girl who was a dancer in that kingdom. and he becomes so much attracted to this woman. And in the banks of Kaveri, she was walking and he is holding umbrella on her. And he is walking back, seeing her, and she is walking front. And he lost everything. Now, what is there in this side? What is there in this side? Who is there behind? No other consciousness, only seeing her. Then Ramanuja was just took bath in the Kaveri and with his disciples. Everyone was shouting, hey, how silly fellow he is, how foolish he is. He is attracted to the material beauty. What is there in that? And then Ramanuja calls him. Says, what are you attracted to? He says, her eyes are so beautiful. Says, nothing more beautiful than those eyes in this entire creation. And Ramanuja, he tells Dhanurdas, what if I show you more beautiful eyes than that, more beauty than that? So, impossible, it cannot be possible. He says, no problem, you come, I will show you. And he takes this devotee, this person, to Lord Ranganath's temple. And a very special darshan he arranges for this person. And as soon as he takes darshan of Lord Ranganath, he cries there, how I was wasting my life being attracted to this material beauty. So then he becomes disciple of Ramanuja. Then after that, that woman whom she was following, she also becomes disciple. And it so happened that she becomes more serious and sincere than Dhanurdas. So in this way, how Ramanuja, he proved that the real beauty is in Lord Krishna, is in Lord Vishnu. That is eternal beauty. So in this way, Ramanuja, all over the world, all over India, he was preaching, so many disciples. Sri Rangam temple was expanded, and deity worship and mathas, so many disciples, the lineage, so many, the Sri Vaishnava parampara was growing and growing and growing. There was even one great nice story, how Ramanuja, he was traveling preaching and he goes to one village, and there were two disciples of Ramanuja. One was rich and the other one was poor. A rich disciple and a poor disciple in terms of money. So Ramanuja says, okay, let's go to the poor disciple first. So he goes to the house of poor disciple whose name was Varada. So they are so poor that they don't even have proper clothes to wear. So when Ramanuja came, the wife of Varada, the wife of that disciple, she was inside, she was not coming out because she didn't have proper clothes. Just from outside, she clapped the hands and offered obeisances. Ramanuja understood the situation of this girl, of this woman, disciple. Then immediately he took the upper garment, Uttariyam, and he gave to her. And she covered her body and came out and offered obeisances. Then they were thinking, how should we please our spiritual master and their disciples? We don't have anything to offer them. Then she tells to her husband that there is one businessman in the village who is very lusty after her, who want to enjoy her. Then she says, I will go and tell him that give me some money, ingredients, I want to cook for my spiritual master and I will satisfy your desire. And that fellow says, okay, happy, and he gives money, he gives ingredients. So she takes that, comes home and she makes grand feast for Ramanujacharya and all the disciples. And the husband, he becomes surprised. How did you arrange this? Said, so and so thing happened, I told like this. And the husband cries. Said, what a great devotion you have towards your Guru. Then he takes the wife to the Ramanuja and he explains what she has done. And Ramanuja, he becomes so happy by the devotion, by so much of selfless. She is even ready to give up her chastity for the sake of service to her spiritual master. And Ramanujacharya blesses her and he tells, you take this, my remnants and Tirdham, Jala, and go and give to that fellow. And same thing, husband and wife, they take. Husband says, thank you very much for giving the money. We bought some prasadam from our spiritual master, please accept this. As soon as he gets that, his whole consciousness changes. He just falls at the feet of her and says, you are my mother, you are my father, please forgive me for my foolish mentality. And then he also goes to Ramanuja and he becomes the disciple. So that is the glories of Ramanujacharya. So in this way, then last in the final, Ramanuja, this Kuresha who took away his eyes, and he was no eyes now. He came back to Srirangam, and after some time that king dies, that Shaivite king, he dies. So then, seeing this opportunity, Ramanuja comes back. Then Ramanujacharya meets this Kuresh and says that Kuresh, you should, and he sees the pity situation of the Kuresh, how he lost eyes. He took away his eyes for the sake of his spiritual master, Ramanujacharya. Then he tells Kuresh, you should ask the Lord to give the vision back. Lord will give you. Then Kuresh says, no Lord, no my dear spiritual master, I don't want to ask anything from the Lord. I don't want to take any boon from the Lord. So no, you should ask for the vision. I am telling you as your Guru. Then Kuresha goes to the Lord, says, my Lord, please give me vision to say your eternal beauty. Then the Lord appears there and he gives the vision back to Kuresh. And it so happened that Kuresh could see only the beauty of the Lord and nothing else. And Lord said that because you only asked me to give the vision to see only my beauty, so I am giving you only that. So then Kuresh, he can only see the beauty of the Lord, no other material beauty. So then Kuresh has two children. One of them was Parashara. So that Parashara, after Kuresh, now in the end of the Ramanuja, when he is giving up, Kuresh also passes away. Then Ramanujacharya in the final days, final years, he makes this Parashara Muni, Parashara Bhattar as the Acharya and the successive Acharya after Ramanuja. Then after that, in one night, Ramanuja, while giving discourses on Bhagavatam, he, in that posture only, he leaves the body. And that same body of Ramanujacharya is still being preserved in Srirangam. Even devotees say that sometimes the nails also grow, hair also grow. So the body is still there. It is not done samadhi because that body is still ever fresh. Just in that posture of while giving class, he left his body. So that is the glorious passing away of Srila Ramanujacharya. And when he was alive, his disciples, they requested him to expand into deity forms. And when he was in Melkote and after that he came back to Srirangam, in Melkote they were in so much separation, Ramanuja is going back. Then they asked Ramanuja, no, we'll make a deity and we will worship that, your deity. So that is how he said, it's not different from me. You worship this deity, it is not different from me. So like that there are 4 places, Srirangam, Kanchipuram, Tirupati and Melkote. These are the 4 headquarters of Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. Srirangam is the main headquarter, but apart from this, the most prominent places are Kanchipuram, Tirupati and Melkote, where Ramanuja personally stayed and did so many leelas there. That's why. Just like for us, Mayapur, the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya, Jagannath Puri, where Lord Chaitanya did so many pastimes, last 18 years he was there. And Vrindavan, the birthplace of Lord Krishna, how it is so much dear to us. Similarly, Sri Vaishnavas, Srirangam, Kanchipuram, Tirupati and Melkote. These are very, very dear places for Ramanujacharya, for the Sri Sampradaya devotees, Vaishnavas. So all these 4 places, the Ramanuja is personally present in the form of his deities. Srirangam is personally present, his own body is there, whereas other 3 places, he is present in his own deity form, which he established at that time. So Hare Krishna, we can pray to Sripad Ramanujacharya today to bless us with pure devotional service and perfect our life in this very lifetime. So there are teachings of Ramanujacharya, final teachings. I will just read that. Can hear. When Ramanuja felt that the time of his earthly sojourn was drawing to a close, he summoned all his disciples and gave them a summary of his teachings. This is the summary of all his 120 years of teaching and an exhortation to follow them. The gist of those teachings were as follows. Please listen carefully. Worship all holy men exactly as you would do in the case of your own spiritual preceptor. Worship everyone as all holy men, as your own guru. Have sincere faith in the teachings of the previous Acharyas and Alvars. Never become enslaved by your senses. Be not satisfied with the acquisition of worldly knowledge. Spend your time reading literature which deals with the greatness of God and the wonders of His creation. By the Guru's grace, the attraction of the senses will cease to torment you. Learn to maintain equanimity in feelings of joy and sorrow, attraction and aversion. Enjoy the chanting of the names and glories of God's devotees with as much relish as the chanting of God's names and glories. Enjoy the glories of the devotees of God as much you enjoy the glories of God. It's like, when Prabhupada disciples speak about Prabhupada, it's like Prabhupada Katha, Prabhupada nectar. So that is more nectar than hearing about Krishna. Never forget that service to the devotees of God is greater than service to God Himself. He who renders service to God's devotees speedily attains God Himself. Do not take to the life of a devotee as a means for acquiring any selfish advantage. Don't go to any devotee for the sake of selfish advantage. Devote a portion of the day, at least 1 hour, to the contemplation of the greatness of your spiritual master, and sometime every day to the reading of the sacred writings of the Alvars or the Acharyas. The Alvars seek the company of those that pursue the path of self-surrender to God and avoid the company of those that say there are other paths leading to salvation. Do not associate with materialistic people who are in pursuit of prosperity and sense enjoyment, but mingle with the devotees of God to the extent possible. Whoever looks upon the sacred icons of God as mere stones, his own spiritual teacher as an ordinary human being, eminent devotees as high or low according to the caste of their birth, the holy water that has touched the feet of the Lord, Ganga, and has as a consequence acquired the power to purify and purge one of all the sins as ordinary water, the sacred mantras as a collection of sounds, and the Supreme Lord of all the worlds as one not higher than the Devas, let him be considered as an unworthy person, fit only for purgatory. He who has truly surrendered himself at the feet of God should not spend thought on his future. One who is surrendered to God, he should not think about the future, which is entirely at the disposal of God. For the least anxiety felt in that connection betrays hypocrisy in self-surrender. Oh, what will happen? What will happen? If I join ISKCON, what will happen? If you think like that, then you are betraying your own self-surrender. One's present life is entirely determined by the past karmas. We get pains and pleasures based on our past karmas. So it is not proper to grieve over it. Let not the performance of your duties is regarded as a means for achieving worldly rewards. Your devotional service to the Lord is not a means to get some worldly awards. Many times devotees are glorified, they are given awards. But one should be very careful that our bhakti is not to get some worldly awards. Consider it only as service rendered to the Supreme Lord. Study the Sri Bhashya and teach it to others. This is most pleasing to God. Read Bhagavatam, study Bhagavatam, learn Bhagavatam and preach Bhagavatam. If this is not possible, study the holy writings of Saint Shatakopan and other great saints and teach them to qualified disciples. Failing this, spend your lives in service to the Lord in the sacred places. At least, if you are not doing this, stay in some holy place and do bhajan and seva. Or else construct a hut at Melkote, their holy place, Srivaishnavas, and live there in contemplation of the sacred mantras. If none of the above is possible, seek out a holy man who is full of wisdom, devotion and desirelessness, and move with him in such a way that he may be kind towards you. If nothing is possible, just be as a dog of a Vaishnava. Renouncing all your egoism, follow his teachings. This itself is a means for your enlightenment. Distinguish between those who are your friends, enemies and neutrals. The spiritually minded are your friends, those who are inimical to God are your enemies, and the worldly minded are your neutrals. Let your heart rejoice at the sight of friends as though you have come across fine pleasure-giving objects. At the sight of your enemies, let your heart tremble as though you are confronted by a tiger. That means just be away from materialistic people. Asat Sangatyage e Vaishnava Acharya. To the indifferent, pay as much attention as to a pile of rubble. Association with devotees, spiritually minded, and spiritual teachers will lead to spiritual illumination. Never ingratiate yourself with atheists for the sake of worldly gain. For such benefits are sure to turn your mind from God. Remembering that the all-merciful Lord is ready to supply you all that you pray for, never beg of your enemies. So in this way, these are the final teachings of Sripad Ramanujacharya, and there are some books written by Ramanujacharya. I'll just read out them. Vedanta Sangraha, an independent work expounding the philosophy of the Upanishads. Vedantha Sara and Vedanta Deepa, which are brief synopsis on the Vedanta Sutras. Gita Bhashyam, a commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. Ramanuja wrote commentary on Bhagavad Gita also. When someone read Prabhupada's Gita and told Prabhupada, your Gita is exactly like Ramanujacharya's commentary, said yes, that is true. Nityananda, dealing with daily rituals and devotional practices for Vaishnavas. Gatyatraya, 3 prose works which are of great sectarian importance with a theological base. Sharanagati Gatya, an exposition on the greatness of self-surrender, Prapatti and the method thereof. Sri Ranga Gatya is a prayer to Lord Sri Ranganatha to grant eternal servitude. And Vaikunta Gadya, which is a poetic description of Vaikunta. Ramanujacharya described how the Vaikunta looks like in his poetic form in Vaikunta Gadya, the Lord's eternal transcendental abode. This work is used as a contemplative device which brings great solace. So in this way there are so many books which Ramanujacharya wrote, established, because books are the basis, or philosophy is based on the books. And for the thousands of years, these are the standard in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. He is the Acharya for this age, Yuga Acharya. Sripad Ramanujacharya ki, Sripad Ramanujacharya appearance day ki. Any questions?
In the lecture you were saying that gave two teachings to every sampradaya and took back also. But if you see Lord Ramanujacharya appeared before Vadama.
Yeah, there is the Navadip Mahatmya, it is written that how Ramanujacharya came there and took it. It is not, you don't find in the commonly known books. That is there in the Navadip Mahatmya. You can read that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared 500 years back. That doesn't mean he was not there before. He is Lord. He is the Supreme Lord. He is eternally. Navadip is the eternal abode of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is always there. It's not that before his birth he is not there. He is always there. He is the Supreme Lord. Okay? Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thai Gaur Premanande.